Alright, I know the title's a little bit clickbaity, but it's only exaggerated by a bit, I promise. I've actually lost the use of my right arm twice. Once when I cut a good chunk through it, and the other was due to an injury due to football at PE. Luckily for me, though, I was born left-handed-ish, and then I switched to being ambidextrous, then to right, and then back to left, and I've been ambidextrous ever since, but that's a story for another time. In PE, what ended up happening was we were playing Hawaiian football where you could throw the ball any direction from anywhere, and on the other team there was a varsity and junior varsity football player. And I ended up sacking them a couple times during the game, so they ended up throwing me, and I landed on my wrist. This caused my wrist to end up being immobilized for about 2.5 weeks. Now for the story you're really here for, how I cut through a chunk of my arm. There will be pictures, but I'll give you a 3 count before it happens. This happened while I was splitting wood from my mother's house. I used a sledgehammer and a wedge to break it apart. While I was hammering the wedge, about a silver dollar piece of the middle on the top split off and fired off like a rocket and hit the brick wall behind me. I actually heard it hit the wall before I even felt anything. So, as I'm looking back because I heard the ping of metal hitting brick behind me, I hadn't noticed that my arm was in its trajectory and had actually been cut open. And I was looking back behind me to find the source of the sound, and that's when I felt it, the drip. Now, the drip is what I call the phenomenon when you get a cut and you don't realize it up until you get that one drop of blood that falls off of your body, and that is what alerts you. At this time, my mother was at my aunt and uncle's house, so I run up to the house and I get the peroxide and the rubbing alcohol out, along with a pair of tweezers so I can pull all the metal that might be in the wound out, pour peroxide on it, and then some rubbing alcohol to help clean and sterilize everything. As I'm doing this, I call my mother up because she is a registered nurse, telling her to get home immediately. The next morning, the wound looked pretty graphic. 3, 2, 1. So yeah, that's a pretty gnarled wound, and this is a picture of a couple weeks later. I'm sure you're wondering why I didn't get stitched up, and you've only really got a 24-hour period to get a wound like that stitched, but apparently I heal too fast and end up only having like 16 to 12 hours. After a couple of weeks of not being able to use my arm, it pretty much looked like a deflated apple fritter. But I guess you could say, luckily for me, at this point I've already had experience at rebuilding the arm, so I was able to do all my physical therapy at home. Anyway, if you enjoyed my story, comment down below, tell me what you like, what you dislike. If you enjoy what I do here, feel free to subscribe. As always, thank you for watching.